This is 5 Live Breakfast. Your call.
Good morning. Right, Donna Dawson, psychologist, specialist in behaviour. Donna, how are you doing?
Nick, how are you? I'm very well, thank you.
Fine, let's hear Peter in York. Peter, what do you want to say?
Oh, hello. I think fat people are totally responsible for their fatness, and I think they're incredibly ugly to look at when they waddle down the street. They use far more cloth than other people. I can stand in the leg of the trousers of some fat people. When they get on the bus, you can't sit down next to them because there's no room left. It costs more fuel to haul them around. And it just overburdens the health service. When I go to the supermarket and I see what these people are buying, I'm not surprised, you know. And then they go out in the supermarket into their car, and they're far more concerned about the quality of the petrol they put in their car than the quality of the food that they put down their throat. And the food industry has a huge responsibility here. I'm the same size as I was when I was a teenager. I'm a pensioner now. And 40 years ago, I took a decision that there's a difference between being old and having been around a long time. And being old means usually you're decrepit and bits are falling off and not working properly. And being old and having been around a long time means you're still fit and healthy. And so for 40 years, basically, I've eaten very, very little processed food or pre-cooked food, just food that's
You're
freshly
lucky.
cooked.
Some people seem to be addicted. I mean, Donna Dawson, these are harsh words from Peter.
Yeah, I can understand where he's coming from, but I don't think fat people set out to annoy and upset everybody. I think they hate themselves enough. I think most overweight people who even pretend to be, you know, the jolly fat loving stereotype are not at all. There's always problems underneath. We tend to eat not just to survive, we eat for emotional reasons too. A lot of us do anyway, whether we're lonely or frustrated or angry. And with very overweight people, it is a combination of you know, probably bad upbringing in terms of imitating parents' eating habits and not getting enough exercise, and also the kind of self-hate, the insecurity, the low self-esteem that makes you try and fill a kind of emotional hole inside of you.
Oh, this is so... I think you're wrong. I think a lot of these feelings you're expressing come from the food that these people are eating. If you eat rubbish, then your whole system is going to be polluted, you know. And
yeah, but it's not just about eating rubbish. It's about how much you eat.
Just a moment. Let me finish my point. If you eat rubbish food, then people often end up with physical symptoms like IBS or skin problems, psoriasis, and all of these sorts of things. Finally, science and the medical profession is accepting that our emotional state is very much tied up to all of this. If you go out and for months just eat rubbish food, you're going to feel rubbish. Everybody knows that. If you change your diet and eat food that's made from real fresh food every day on a regular basis, you're going to feel much better within yourself, and you're not going to have so many of these problems.
Yeah,
and a lot of these problems that you're talking about come from this rubbish food, and people that have no energy, so they can't get up and walk and do stuff, so they just sit there getting fatter. You know, and
can I just make my point now?
Sure.
It just isn't about eating processed food, okay? It's about the amount of processed food they're eating. If we ate everything in moderation, none of us would be overweight, whatever we ate. Now, the problem is...
Well, hang on, let Donna finish.
Why are you reaching for processed food all the time and using it as a solution for emotional issues? So it goes beyond just unthinkingly buying horrible processed food. There's enough food ads out there for people to have a general idea of what's good for them and what isn't. I think most of us know processed food isn't good for us. Most of us know by now fresh fruit and vegetables is what we should be eating.
Do we?
Hang
on, wait, Donna. Why do I see, somebody giving, a little, I don't know, 13 months, 14 months in a pram, a McDonald's milkshake? Does that mother know that that's bad for the baby?
Yeah, well, if you speak to these mothers, a lot of them will say it's cost. Because unfortunately, a lot of the processed food is cheaper. So if they're on a budget, they'll get 2 pizzas for one.
What's
and they'll
more expensive, milk or milkshake? What's more expensive, milk or milkshake? But milk's cheaper than milkshake.
Well, yeah. I mean, again, this is due to upbringing as well. But I'm saying we are surrounded by food ads. The 5 vegetable and fruits a day is part of, I think, common knowledge. We make a choice. This is about making choices. And for me as a psychologist, why do we make the choices we make? How does that reflect back on who we are? And a lot of this eating is emotional. It is to create a kind of suit of armor between yourself and the world. And yes, it's not good. It's not healthy. Other people don't like it. They don't like themselves. But it's not going to help the problem just to sort of dump a lot of hate on them and say, I don't like the sight of them.
Right, okay, I'm Dawn in Hemel Hempstead. Hi, Dawn, come on.
Hello there.
I mean, we've heard more of it from Peter in York saying, I don't like them, they waddle towards you. When you hear that, what do you think?
I'm horrified by it. It absolutely is awful.
So you've been seething listening to some of those. Joan Burney earlier on. And Peter, she's seething about you.
Yes, I know. I think we should have a fat tax. I think obese people should be taxed £1 per pound per month. That would sort the problem out in about 6 months.
How can you say that? How can you honestly say that? When what's making me angry is when people have problems with their weight, if they were anorexic or they had some sort of form of anorexia, they're looked at as poorly people.
They are indeed, and
yeah.
I think,
so
yes, indeed, but that's
do they choose to make themselves sick, or do they choose to starve themselves?
Fat people choose to eat rubbish food.
That is a choice.
They can go to the shop and they can buy proper food and eat that, and they won't get obese.
Do they choose to make themselves sick? Is it their own mind that's telling them to do that, or is it society?
It's them. Because
exactly.
they're bone idle.
So why aren't they vilified?
You see, but hang on, wait. What was that about bone idle?
If people can't be bothered to cook...
Bone idle? I swim 4 miles a week.
Yes, but you're not cooking your own food.
Yes, but you're not cooking your own food, he said.
I am cooking my own food, you cheeky person.
I've heard some insults in my time. I think cheeky person is a good one.
Yes, but what are your basic ingredients? If you're just opening tins and packets and bottles of this, that, and the other, and stuff that's already processed,
so wrong.
It's rubbish.
I eat stir fries. I cook with fry light. I don't cook with oil.
Well, fry light is an industrial product. It's not a food. I think the way that science has taken over nutrition and say we need this, this, and this, and therefore junk food has on the package. I do agree with you on that. That this food is so and so, and it even has red, green, and amber lights.
But this prejudice. Well, I want to nail this prejudice because Dawn, when Peter said, and I hope I'm not distorting what you said. You said you don't like it. They waddle towards you.
No.
What did you say?
It really does.
Well, hang on. Let's just find. Wait, Peter. I know you don't. I'm sure you don't. Peter, what did you say?
I was using the big spoon and stirring it up a bit, but I do think that when you see them walking about, it isn't very elegant. They don't walk; they waddle. They can't get up and down stairs. They can't breathe properly. And how they manage their personal hygiene and washing themselves and dare I say, using
all that stuff. Paper. So, Dawn, is this prejudice? Is this just naked prejudice?
It is purely naked prejudice. It is. I'm so stunned by what this man is saying. I'm so angry. I'm shaking. I can't believe it. I genuinely can't. Would you go up to somebody who's dead skinny because they've got an eating disorder and say you're too bony, put on some weight?
No, because they have serious psychological problems. They're choosing not to eat,
what's the difference between a really skinny person and an extremely fat person? What is the difference?
Well, a really skinny person is choosing not to eat, which is bizarre.
So what you
whereas
think
a really
a fat person
is
hasn't got
choosing to eat
problems,
rubbish.
and they're choosing to eat all healthy stuff then, yeah?
Sorry, what was it? Who's choosing to eat?
A fat person hasn't got an eating disorder, is that what you're saying?
No, a fat person is lazy because they won't cook real food. They just rather open the packet and scoff it down their throat.
You live on a completely different planet.
No, I'll tell you something. 40 years ago, I helped start a wholesale whole food company in the north of England. That's when I took my decisions about my diet and things. And this company is booming, and the whole whole food network. There was a lady on previously who was Jamie Oliver's inspiration. What she said is exactly spot on, and that's what I've started to think in the early 70s, basically. And I
do not buy pre-packaged food. I eat 5 vegetables or fruit a day. I eat healthily, okay, so admittedly I probably eat too much sometimes. But I do not eat unhealthy food. I don't eat takeaways or anything like that.
Well, listen,
How fat are you then?
I'm 21
how much do you weigh?
stone.
21 stone, Peter.
And how tall are you?
I'm 5'5".
And you're 21 stone.
Yep.
Then you're far, far too big.
No, you don't say.
And you should there should be a fat tax of £1 per month.
Oh, shut up, terrible man.
Okay, listen. Peter, thank you very much. Dawn,
Sorry.
you stop
Sorry.
shaking, relax, enjoy the
Sorry.
sunshine. No, don't apologise. You cheeky man, I think you said was brilliant. I'm going to steal that one from you.
Me swearing.
Next time I'm interviewing